But it's been rewritten since it was initially passed, and then that to make it clear that there's plenty of discretion, and if you make the case that someone is a threat to public safety, or if they come in and they get arrested, they've got an outstanding warrant because they've refused, they haven't shown up for a trial or something, then those people will end up being incarcerated until their trial. So it's an attempt to make the decisions based on severity of the crime, history, potential threat, either to flight or to showing up, or to being a threat to a particular person, like a domestic violence situation, or a general threat to public safety. So that's how it's supposed to work, and we are going to see on September 18th. We're going to see whether this is whether this is a good idea. We're the first state to go this far in terms of this kind of bail reform. So you can certainly expect that there are going to be some unforeseen consequences. But that's the general gist of this, is to not make how rich or poor a particular defendant is, for that to have any impact on whether or not they are spend time in jail rather than being out on release before their trial.
I see. Okay. Well, thank you for laying all that out. Very, very, very great for us right there. And you mentioned a lot of the discretion is going to fall on the judge prior to the act. The judge, I'm sure, had a lot of say in it, but what did it look like, and where did that discretion fall on?
Well, in certain counties, and we're talking, big counties like Cook County, then you're going to end up with a lot of people who can't make cash bail, and you're kind of routinely going saying we're going to ask for a certain amount of bail, and the people that end up in jail tend to be people that are they're poor, tend to be more minorities, and so the question is whether that was, when you've got economics running part of it, whether or not that's a fair way to do it. I don't think you're going to see a lot of change in terms of how you deal with people that are accused of horrendous crimes. It's not going to be, well, we're going to we got a $1 million bond or something, and maybe a drug lord could make that, but you're just going to end up saying these people are a threat to flee or to create other, commit other crimes, and we're going to hold them to trial. But it's going to take more time, more preparation. It's going to be, and so it's going to change the routine in terms of the state's attorney, in terms of the judges, and there are still contentions that, well, we've got certain crimes that shouldn't be in kind of the presumption of that we're going to have bail, and so I would be surprised if we don't see changes made in the law.
Right. So on paper, I mean, it seems like a pretty good thing. You said there will be some unforeseen, maybe some consequences, maybe some things we'll have to adapt to. Can you just tell us some of the pros and cons that you see coming down the way?
Well, I mean, obviously, in terms of the overall concept, there were concerns about that we're going to have, a presumption of release is going to end up with dangerous people out on the streets. And so, that's not the intent. The law has been amended to try to make it work the way that it's intended. But you just never know until you put something in. And this is statewide. This is a huge change. And so, the idea is, clearly you can have, there's kind of a law of unintended consequences, and there are going to be things you haven't seen. So there is, the major concerns were about whether or not you were going to go, instead of having too many people in jail that shouldn't be there, you were going to have people that ought to be in jail that are going to get, are going to get either just released on their own, or they're going to be under some kind of supervised release. So, and with what I in explaining kind of the way the law is supposed to work, that then I touched on, the primary concerns is that we've got unequal justice, and justice that is biased by the economic status of the defendants, and so I don't think these are all nice principles that in the abstract, but until you get down and really do it, and so we may end up, a year from now saying, wow, this works pretty well, or, oh my goodness, why didn't we see that this was an issue or that was an issue? And so it's unlikely we're going to suddenly, the legislature is not going to repeal this. It's the Democrats that supported it, and Republicans primarily opposed it. The Democrats have a huge majority, but in good faith, they will try to fix the things that that they didn't see were coming. That ended up happening because of the change in the law.
Absolutely. And this comes into effect, the Safety Act, on September 18th, 2023. And that's right before the 2024 elections. What effect do you think that would play on the elections?
I think it's going to play out exactly like it played out in 2022. So that if you're running for office, the legislature in a part of the state that leans Democratic, northeastern Illinois, the suburbs in Cook County and Chicago, then you'll be emphasizing, equal justice, reforming the system, and that will be the message. Because that was the message in 2022, and we still we don't know how this is going to work yet. And down more downstate Republican areas, then you'll see the message that the Democrats have gone too far, that this is pro-criminal, and that we're disregarding public safety. And so those narratives will fit kind of what the core constituencies are, since we're such a polarized, divided state in terms of it's very regional in terms of our politics. So there's not going to be a lot of data to say this happened or that happened, and the two narratives, kind of a soft on crime versus we want to have equal justice, those are going to play out in campaigns, I think, in 2024 the same way they played out 2 years ago in 2022.
Absolutely. All right. Sitting down with Dr. Kent Redfield. He's a political science expert here. You're listening to the WTIM morning show. We're going to take our first short little break. We will be right back.
Your information station, WTIM.
This is Dwayne Wheeler, the police chief of the city of Taylorville. As a law enforcement officer, I've seen the impact that depression and suicide have on many people. Many times, those contemplating suicide endure considerable suffering and distress, but there is help. If you feel depressed or lonely, there are many resources to help you. You can call a trusted relative, friend, or minister, or call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That is 1-800-273-TALK. All of us are here to help you. Thank you.
Dr. Emily Smith here with Taylorville Vision Source across from the high school to remind you of the importance of regular comprehensive eye exams. Did you know that those over age 60 are at more risk for conditions like glaucoma, and that glaucoma is only diagnosed through a comprehensive eye exam? Schedule an appointment with our friendly and caring professionals by calling 217-287-2020 today. That's 217-287-2020. Taylorville Vision Source, enhancing vision, enriching lives.
Jansen's Heating and Air is hiring HVAC technicians.
Why are you dressed like Uncle Sam?
Because, Troy, working for Jansen's gives you a sense of freedom and independence to do what's right for the customer.
Well, yeah.
Our HVAC techs take pride in their work and pledge allegiance to your comfort.
That's true, but...
So Uncle Sam wants you to join our team at Jansen's.
You know this is radio, right?
I've been told I have a face for it.
We don't need gimmicks. Hey, Logan, come here.
Who?
He's one of our installers.
Yeah,
Is Jansen's a great place to work?
sure is.
Because you work alongside a stellar team of drug-tested and background check technicians while enjoying top pay stack benefits and high-level continual training?
Yep.
Making you feel like a true blue, red-blooded, star-spangled patriot, right?
Is your beard made of cotton balls?
Okay, wrap it up.
Pick up an application at Jansen's headquarters in Effingham.
Or apply today at jansensheating.com.
Your farmer-owned dairy, Prairie Farms Dairy, has a great thirst-quenching idea that provides lots of vitamin C this summer. Try some delicious Prairie Farms Premium Orange Juice. It gives you and your family the vitamin C they need, and great taste, too. Prairie Farms Dairy Premium 100% pure Florida orange juice. Grab it in your grocer or convenience store dairy case. From the farm families of Prairie Farms Dairy, to your family, it's quality you can taste.
Far and away in 2022, Craig's Realtors yet again is the market leader. Owner Steve Craig's here. If you're looking to sell, we can help. Click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Find out about all the products and services offered by Dan Rizzo, your American Family Insurance agent in Taylorville, by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back into the WTIM morning show. My name is Tim Zalabak. Time now to continue with Dr. Kent Redfield. He's a political science expert here. We've been talking all about the Safety Act, and we're going to keep moving on. Thank you so much to our live stream sponsors, Landmark of Taylorville and People's Bank and Trust. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Sitting down with Dr. Kent. We still got you, Mr. Redfield.
Yes.
Beautiful. You're sounding great on our end. We're going to pivot over from the Safety Act. Let's talk a little bit about the election politics, more specifically the Republican primary coming up. We have Darren Bailey challenging Mike Bost. What does that mean for us?
Well, it means that in most of downstate is leans very Republican, but the Democrats carved out two districts. One to elect Brzezinski, who represents an area from Champaign down to the Metro East, and another district that kind of is Rockford and then comes down to the Quad Cities. Those are two areas the Democrats won. Then there are three districts that are very, very Republican. And, the Democrats drew the map so that they would try to get these two Democratic seats. Darren Bailey lost to Governor Pritzker, but won the Republican nomination very handily. He doesn't have a lot of options in terms of, where to go from there in terms of, going back to the state Senate. He's decided to challenge Mike Bost, who's the incumbent in a very Republican district, and Bost is pushing back. Both of them were endorsed by former President Trump, and so you're going to have a very spirited contest in the primary. When you get past that, downstate congressional elections are, there'll be a serious challenge to the Democrat up in Rockford, but there's just not going to be a lot going on because the Democrats drew the map and to try to eliminate competition and to create these two safe seats. But in this race, you're likely to see a lot of national money and national, prominent Republicans, battling for the seat between Boston and Bailey.
Absolutely. You said it's going to be a spirited contest. Any idea what those disagreements will look like, or what kind of spirited contest it'll be like?
Well, it's really going to be a fight to say, who's the most conservative, who's the one that's most like former President Trump, and so I would not be surprised to see Mary Miller, who's the congressman just to the to the north of this district, but in a huge district that's actually most a lot of downstate. And so, the Trump supporters, the Freedom Caucus, Lorena Bobbitt, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're likely to see national figures come in, whereas the Republicans in Congress want to keep, they want to support their incumbent. And Boss is a very, he's a strong incumbent. And so you're going to see, national money taking sides in terms of kind of, and so it's going to be have a lot more outside activity than what you would, what you might expect for a very safe Republican seat. I mean, whoever wins is going to be a good, a safe, dependable vote for the Republicans.
Yes,
but
sir.
It get nationalized.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Redfield, we're out of time, but thank you so much for taking the time sitting down with us today.
Oh, certainly, anytime.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. That's Dr. Kent Redfield, with political science expert here on the WTIM Morning Show. We'll be back with more in just a little bit.
Now, Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.